Ladies and gentlemen, what's up? This is BC. Welcome back to another episode of Supreme Being. Shout out to everybody, distinguished agent. A huge shout out to Alex Hunter. He's a member of my Limitless coaching program and also obviously distinguished agent because Limitless is the highest tier. He just took a $9 million listing. Kudos to you, sir. Fantastic. Well done. Shout out to everybody else who supports. Go to my new website, briancasellacoaching.com. Get on the email list so you find out of all the new juicy stuff that I have coming out and get your free bonus. Those of you looking to take it to the next level, schedule your free strategy call. All the links, including Discord and also the Icon Ninjas at eXp Realty for the realtors who listen. All those links are in the description. They're also on my YouTube, my Instagram, and everywhere else. So let's get into the meat and bones of what I want to speak about today. At varying degrees and at different levels and at different segues in your life, you're going to be faced with this, right? And typically people relate this to the beginning of your journey. I get this question a lot. I dealt with this, and it's a normal thing that people deal with. And it's, how do I deal with not having anybody around me, anything around me that believes in my idea, believes in me, or can offer even a little few words of encouragement or something, right? Where you feel like, man, I feel like everyone and everything and the whole world is against me. Almost like Tupac, right? Just me against the world. You feel that way. Now, I brought up other scenarios because you'll hit other points in the future where you'll deal with that again. And it might not necessarily be that nobody believes in you, but maybe you don't believe in yourself and taking the next leap after you've leveled up. And you almost feel like that same position you felt at in the beginning when you were brand new to something, or you wanted to make a radical career change, or you wanted to change something, or you know what, I'm going to change this about me, or like me, right? A bunch of tattoos, right? Little stuff like that. Or it could be career stuff, the big stuff, to where everybody around you and everything is looking at you, scratching their head like, what are you doing? Or what's that? And you're not supposed to do that. And you're looking around like, man, I can't even get a thumbs up from anybody. Right? Even the strangers are going, boo, right? So you'll hit this at different points, but let's start with the first one, because I think the majority of people feel that or felt that sting in the beginning of, man, I have nobody that believes in me, all right? Now, what you need to understand from a creation standpoint, meaning you being a human being who has access to many more powers than you think you know, right? And many powers that you probably will never discover, but they're there. The potential is there. What reigns supreme, and I want you to pay very close attention to this, everybody, because this opened up a lot of doors for me mentally, and we know this is a mental game, right? First law, 7 laws of alchemy. We live in a mental universe. All is mind, okay? This is what you need to understand. Having outside belief is great. However, first and foremost, your ability to foster belief in your ability to do something or to see something through, or fill in the blank, but in particular, belief systems, what you want to do, what you want to accomplish, who you want to be, moving forward and executing on ideas. That has to be able to be fostered entirely within and with self. Meaning, anything from the outside, claps, cheers, words of encouragement, support, all of that, again, we need to view this from the foundational standpoint, just from an understanding standpoint. Anything outside of you is a bonus. It's a cherry on top. It's the sprinkles on the ice cream. It's the frosting on the cake. It's extra. It's not the ice cream. It's not the cake. It's the banana split without the cherry on top, meaning you still have it, and that base has to be there before you put the frosting, the sprinkles, or the cherry on top. And I want to hammer this home. Now, we know moving on later, yes, you want mentorship, all that stuff. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the first initial commitment and belief, right? Let's walk through this. The idea comes in like it did for me. You know what? Maybe I should become a realtor. Maybe real estate's a potential career. Now, moving forward after that, before it got to the point where I said, okay, I'm going to do this, somewhere in the interim between the idea and then the decision, the wholehearted decision and commitment, decision/commitment, whatever you want to call it, right? Because it's both. Somewhere in that interim, I had to have gotten to the point where it clicked for me, at least initially, that, okay, I actually wholeheartedly believe that I can do this. Now, what a lot of people don't do is They don't foster that belief or really analyze it to make sure that it's 100% in concrete. And we're going to cover that here in a second. But that initial belief, it has to be there to like, okay, I'm doing this. I'm doing this. Now that later will get tested, which is those segue points later on, where you will be tested. And many of you may be going through the moment right now where you are having doubts, and understand that that's normal, right? That's supposed to happen. That's the only way for you to vet, by the way, to see if your belief is strong, is to be tested. If it's never tested, how do we know if it's strong or not? If you never have to persevere through something or be smacked in the face with a curveball or a challenge, you should welcome that with open arms, and that's a way to counteract this. But I don't want to get too ahead. Going back to what I said, the belief had to have been there. So at some point, now, where does the first seed of doubt start coming in? Right? Outside of you. You may have some nervousness or some excitement within you. Totally cool and totally normal. Where does the seed of doubt start coming in? You know, you tell people, hey, man, I'm going to get my real estate license. Oh, really? You're going to get your license? Dude, real estate's not for you. You're not the type of, right? You've heard stuff like that. Or maybe you're hearing it right now. You see, the first seed of doubt gets cast upon, that spell, from other people, social media, and things outside of us. And I want you to take note of that, because it's true. If you think back right now to the first moment, right? And I'm not talking about little things that float around in your head and ideas and, oh, can I do this? That's the introductory stage where you're really cementing that belief. I'm talking about where you really sat down after somebody told you something or you saw something, maybe a video or a social media post, and you were like, man, should I really do this? And you seriously, for the first time, started questioning what you wanted to do. And I want you to think, and I guarantee you, for 99.9999% of you, that first hardcore, initial, strong sense and feeling of doubt came from outside of you. Now, that's a red flag. This is why, among many of the things that I've been talking to you over the last decade, one of them is make sure that the input that you get is only from people that you designate that are qualified, bona fide qualified individuals to give you insight or perspectives or opinions on that endeavor or thing. Otherwise, you are polluting your system and brain. Remember, when you still have that initial belief in yourself, it's almost like the baby when it's developing. It's still soft, right? If you drop the baby on its head, it can warp its head because it's still soft, right? The cranium and the bones aren't fully solid yet. That's your belief. Think of your belief like that. You want to just give your baby and toss your belief to anybody? Hey, hold my baby, and then they can drop it? Come on, man. You're not going to do that. So think about that for a second. It's vital that you follow some of these ritualistic things that have been set in stone by people for the longest times, which is make sure that you're focusing on things that are conducive to your growth. Right? There's an abundance of negativity and doubt all around us. Why tap into that, especially in this beautiful moment of the inception of a new idea or potential for you to change or do what it is that you want to do? I was hardcore about that, man. I was only reading books. I wasn't even really on social media unless I was producing stuff. Like even now, every once in a while, I'll flip through my phone and like stuff. But you know, to support the people, like my team members, my coaching members, and all that stuff, my tribe. But before I wouldn't do that. I was either reading or producing content. I wasn't sitting there scrolling when I started. I wasn't doing that, even though people were already doing that back then. Hardcore addictions to social media, the consumption of it, right? Because I knew that everything that my senses perceived, the vast majority that's under my control, has to be positive, empowering, and again, the word is conducive to my growth, something that belongs on this path, something that if I was to run a simulation of what this person should, can, and must pay attention to, it's going to be these things. Otherwise, man, we're really betting against ourselves if we're not doing that. Because it's very easy. We were brought up and we default to negativity, to doubting, to uncertainty, because that's the world around us. That's literally the manifestation of the world around us. The average frequency out there, the person, the thought level, the conversation, the self-talk is uncertainty, chaos, anxiety, unfulfillment, right? Unhappy, feeling hopeless, all the things that you don't want, that you're attempting to break out of. And then you take your beautiful baby, right, idea, and you present it to one of those people. What do you think they're going to do? While you're looking at the potential, they're looking at the detriment. They're looking at the catastrophe, the worst possible scenario. You're looking at possibilities, they're looking at limitations. I mean, look at it. Somebody will message me, man, I want to join or get into, selling, but I'm too young. Says who? Oh, I'm young, so I know it's going to be really hard. Why are you talking to yourself that way? Oh, I want to do sales, but I'm an introvert. I'm shy. I've never done it. I'm like, dude, all you're pointing out is limitations. So I literally will force people, and this is a practice of mine. I'll say, what's the potential here? Or what do you bring to the table? And I force people. Why? So many people are so unaccustomed to actually using their mind that opposite way that they can't even come up with things. Now, there's things there. Everybody has potentials and strengths, just like they have weaknesses. But people are so used to focusing on their weaknesses and talking about them all the time. When I tell them to highlight their strengths, some of them are left speechless. I'm like, dude, are you kidding me? Homie, you really got to start thinking at the other side of the spectrum and not just have this limitation level thinking. Then what does that do? That gets burned into your perception, and your automatic mode is to only see limitations. It's the same damn mechanism that when you point out art to certain people, all they do is point out the flaws. Or you put them on one of my videos, all they do is point out the flaws. I didn't like the audio. Well, it needs a more lighting. It's like, dude, is that all you get from it? Is that all you can see is the limitations or things that you didn't like? How about the opposite? How about to start, we at least get in the pattern and conditioned pattern to acknowledge both sides. If you know you're a negative Nancy, right? Whatever they call it nowadays. I don't know the new woke term or the new Gen Z or Y. I can't even keep up with that shit, right? What is it? And start, and especially if you know, yeah, you know what, dude, you're right. I tend to only look at limitations or complain or only see what can go wrong. Start as your homework for this podcast, because now we're starting to assign homework because I know the students show up, right? At least do both. At least do both. If you're going to acknowledge a negative, at least acknowledge one positive and work at least introducing the other side and creating some sort of a balance mentally, right? And when you have this in your awareness, you'll start doing it, right? Now you slowly start tipping the scales. Then eventually you can acknowledge some of the limitations, but you'll primarily focus on possibilities. This, by the way, this mechanism and change in the belief system and one's perception is what separates, one of the many things that separates the people who are innovators, who execute big ideas, who are the people making tons of money. This is one of those main things that they've changed. And I'm just giving you a very simple everyday application to start changing this mechanism. Because if not, you will never see past a limitation. And whenever you enter a new world, you embark on a new endeavor, you will never really understand what's possible. This mechanism is what separated. I just talked about this today with somebody, right? Unrelated, but we talked about this. If you've seen the movie Prefontaine, make sure you watch it. About a kid in Oregon, first one to break the 4-minute mile, I think. I believe so, yeah. Okay. That mechanism he had. Why? He was able to see past this BS limit that people put saying, oh, it's impossible to break it. Now, what happened after he broke it? 20, 50, 100 people broke it within a year or something like that, right? Something crazy like that, or 10, or I don't know. Now, it's safe to say that all those people had the potential, but he was the only one that he had switched that mechanism to see the possibility instead of just the limitation. What did everyone else accept? The BS limitation of whoever said, oh, it's impossible for a human being to do it. And they accepted it. Prefontaine didn't. He said, you know what, dude? Fuck your limitation. I'm going to break this record. Watch me. And I'm going to work or I'll die trying. That's what I'm talking about, man. I wish I could have met that dude to shake his hand. Maybe I'll meditate and see if I can find him in the spiritual realm, right? Because that dude is a beast. He understood this mechanism that I just described. So I gave you a practical application to start working on it as your homework. And I just gave you an example of an everyday thing. And in this case, a world record that rested on the conquering of this mechanism by one man called Steve Prefontaine. I think that was his name. Great movie, by the way. You can watch it. I recommend you watch it. It's called Prefontaine. He tragically died like in a car accident or something like that, right? Really sad. He went to Oregon, was really young, went to the Olympics. I think he lost in the Olympics or got second, but he was only like 18 or 19, and just insane story. Super cool. Right? Recommend you watch it if you haven't, or if you have, watch it again, right? But this mechanism, you have to flip it. So we first start by balancing negative, positive. Just to say negative and positive, right? Because that's the easiest words for people to understand and reference. Then you start seeing more potential versus limitations. And now this thing starts flipping, because now when you look at things, you see possibilities. You see what other people cannot right now see. And all it is altering your perception as a human being. This is why I've always told people, man, communication and your mind and your imagination are the keys to achieving and unlocking everything that's possible for us as human beings. Now, what is possible? I don't know. We're pushing the limitations of everything all the time with people who really stretch their ability to think. But this is a big one, man. If you really switch this, now some people think they have this handled, but they don't. They might have somewhat of a grip on it, and they've made some strides, but they're not really at that level. Because I can tell you now, me having done this for years and years and years and years, and have achieved the level mentally where I really do see this, like even in strangers that come up to me and give me excuses, I start giving them possibilities right away just from the little bit I've gathered from them. This is how powerful this is, y'all. This is what will allow you on those days, if I can relate it to everyday things, when you don't feel like it, you'll do it. You won't have to go grasping for straws to get motivation and all this nonsense that the average person is dealing with. That, again, I was there, but I broke out of it. And that's no state to be in. To feel like you want to change your life, but then you're not actually doing anything. Now you're an agent of your own destruction. Why would you do that? That's not a healthy human being. A healthy human being says, I don't like this, I'm going to change it. And you change it immediately. Or you get in the process if it takes a while. And you work at it every day, every moment to change it, because you don't desire that state or condition. You want a better one, right? Now we're getting into, human psychology and getting into the psyche. This is how damaged we are unless we do this type of work. So this homework assignment or this topic may seem so mundane or motivational to you. It goes a million levels deeper than that. And I highly urge you to take this as seriously as I did. You unlock a level of experience that very few people on this planet will ever have. Believe me when I say that. Believe me. But you have to start to change the set of eyes that you're looking through and that you perceive through. And that's going to come from the work that you do, not videos that you watch or podcasts that you listen to. Why? We're giving you stuff. What are you doing with it? That's the question. So we have this mechanism, right? Later on, you're going to put pencil or pen to paper. And what I want you to do is, for every later on negative that you come up with, I want you to write at least 3 possibilities or positives. So if you write 5 negatives, we're looking at 15 positives or potentials, possibilities versus limitations. Now we're tipping the scales the other way, because I want to exercise that part of your mind that has fallen dormant. And because the other one has been exercised and developed for so many years, we now have to try to, really intensely build this other side to see possibilities. Because in the beginning, this will be very difficult for you. I'm letting you know, because it was very difficult for me. Now, if you find this a little easier because you've been working on it, push it. For every 1 negative, 5 positive or possibilities or potentials, right? And push this thing. The more you push this, the more benefit it's going to give you. And you're only going to get positive results from this. Why? Your conversations will change. When you do your business planning, it will change. Your scheduling will change. Suddenly, you'll start showing up on time. Suddenly, you'll start getting ahead on your work. You'll feel more invigorated. You'll have more energy. You'll sleep better. A lot of these other problems that you're having will start to go away. And then you'll inspire yourself and really create the genuine want and need to change other things in your life. Maybe your diet and your lifestyle, maybe the people in your life. All these things will start to change, guys. This is a major catalyst for a lot of change. Why? You start seeing through a different set of eyes. You really do. I cannot attest enough how much of a big impact this will have on your life. But you got to start now. If you cannot see possibilities right now, or you see man, my life is in the dumps and I can't do anything, I'm no good, you've put yourself in that position. Or you've enabled other people to put you in that position. Now, newsflash, you're going to have to break yourself out. And you're really going to have to start exercising your mind, your thought process, your communication with yourself and the outside world to really build this thing and take it to a place where you now become an agent of your own creation, your own inspiration, and you now do become a creator of your own life, not just social media creation. I'm talking just creator, and you can start doing what you really want to do. Okay? So hopefully this helped you guys. I really appreciate you supporting the channel. Make sure you go to my new website, get on the email list, and get your free bonus. Schedule your strategy call. Those of you really looking to take it to the next level to find out how we can help you. Get on the Discord. It's free for everybody. And people interested in EXP and the Icon Ninjas offer that we have, make sure that you click the link below as well. Everything is in the description. We'll see you on the next episode. Peace.